A very good morning to all. So kids, let's start this class with a new chapter, chapter number 16, and the name of the chapter is The Four Realms of the Earth. Here the word realms means the biological division of the Earth's surface. So here we are going to discuss about the lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. So in page number 131, in the newsmaker, you can see the picture of David Livingstone. So David Livingstone was a Scottish missionary and also he was one of the greatest European explorer of Africa. He worked in Africa for 30 years as medical missionary, and during this period he traveled to the interior of this continent, that is Africa, and he gave valuable information about this continent to the outside world. So this was about David Livingstone. Now kids, you all know that the Earth is the only planet where life exists, and this is because of the presence of land, which is known as lithosphere, water, which is also known as hydrosphere, and air, which is known as the atmosphere. So we can say that the Earth has three realms or three domains, and they are land, lithosphere, water, hydrosphere, air, atmosphere. Now, as you can see here in this figure, the three realms, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, and all the living beings are found in the biosphere. So we can define biosphere as a narrow zone of contact between lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere where living beings are found. So this was about the three realms of the Earth's surface. Now let's discuss the structure of the Earth. So here you have to imagine Earth like an onion, that is having many concentric layers. Here the term concentric means the circles or the shapes having a common center. So here you can see the different layers of the Earth. The outermost layer is the crust, then below the crust comes the mantle, and below mantle lies the core, and this core is made up of two layers, outer core and the inner core. And here the entire crust and the uppermost layer of the mantle forms the lithosphere. So here in the term lithosphere, lithos is a Greek word which means rock. So lithosphere, the meaning is the sphere of solid rock. Now let's discuss these layers in detail. As we have already discussed, the outermost layer of the Earth is the crust, and this crust is 5 km to 50 km thick. And here the crust is made up of two solid layers, that is soil, and it gets its name from silicon and aluminium. And here in this layer the rocks are present which are rich in both these minerals, that is silicon and aluminium. Now below soil is the sema layer, which is also known as the lower crust, and this sema gets its name from silicon and magnesium because of the presence of rocks which are rich in both these minerals. So the crust have two layers, that is the upper crust and the lower crust, and below the crust lies the mantle, and here this mantle is made up of rocks that are much denser than the crust. This mantle also has three layers, that is the upper mantle which is made up of solid rocks, and below the upper mantle is asthenosphere which is made up of semi-solid rocks, and this is because of the heat and pressure. Below asthenosphere is the lower mantle, and this is made up of solid rocks. So this was about the second layer, mantle. Now the third layer is the core. So the core is the innermost layer of the Earth's surface, and this core consists of two layers, outer core and inner core. And here the core is made up of heavy metals like iron and nickel. So here the outer core is in semi-solid state, whereas the inner core is in solid state. So this was about the layers of the Earth. So here we are discussing about lithosphere, that means the sphere of solid rocks. So the lithosphere consists of continents and oceans. So here you can see the world map which shows the 7 continents and 5 oceans. You all know that continents are the big and small land masses that covers 1/3 of the earth's surface. And there are 7 continents. They are Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, North America and South America. So let's discuss them one by one. The first one is Asia. And you all know that Asia lies in the northern hemisphere, and here you can see to the east of Asia lies the Pacific Ocean, to the south lies the Indian Ocean, to the north lies the Arctic Ocean. And Asia is the largest continent both in terms of geographical area and population. And in Asia you can find the highest mountain, that is Mount Everest, and also the lowest land region, that is the Dead Sea. This Dead Sea is a salt lake, and it is known as Dead Sea because there is no life of fish, and the water is very dense and it have much salt content in it, which makes everything float over it. So this was about the lowest land region, that is the Dead Sea. And in the next figure you can see that to the west of Asia lies Europe, and together they both are known as Eurasia. And here Europe is separated from Asia by this Ural mountain and the Caspian Sea. So this was about Asia continent. Now the next continent is Africa. Africa is the second largest continent, and you can see it spreads across the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, and also you can see the equator that is passing through almost halfway through this continent. And Africa is linked to Asia through the Isthmus of Suez. So here you can see the location of Isthmus of Suez, and here Isthmus is the narrow piece of land that joins two big land masses and water on both the sides. So here Africa is linked to Asia through Isthmus of Suez. And here you can also find the world's largest desert, that is Sahara Desert, and another desert is the Kalahari or Savannah Desert. Now this continent is also the home of the longest river, that is Nile River, and the highest mountain in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro. And you know, for the longest time this continent was known as the Dark Continent because it remained unexplored for a long time. So this was about the Africa continent. Now the next one is North America. Now this is the third largest continent among the 7 continents, and you can see that it is bordered, in the north it is bordered by the Arctic Ocean, to the east lies the Atlantic Ocean, and to the west lies the Pacific Ocean. And here you can find Denali or Mount McKinley, which is the highest point in North America. And also you can find the world's largest freshwater lake, that is Lake Superior, which is formed by the combination of 5 lakes. And the southern part of North America is known as the Central America. So this part is known as the Central America. So this was about North America continent. Now the next one is South America, and you can see that South America lies in the southern hemisphere, and in the next figure you can see the Andes mountain that runs through the northern and western part of this continent. And also it is the home of the largest tropical rainforest, that is the Amazon rainforest. And this continent also has the large countries like Brazil, Argentina and Peru. And in the next figure you can see that the North America and South America, they are connected to the Isthmus of Panama, which is shown in the rectangular box. So both the continents are connected through Isthmus of Panama. So this was about South America. Now the next continent is Antarctica. Here Antarctica is the world's driest and the coldest continent, and you can see on the map that Antarctica, it extends from the South Pole to the Antarctic Circle. It is also known as the white continent because throughout the year it is covered with snow, and only penguin, seal, whale and some other animals are found here, and there is no permanent human habitation here, and the average temperature of this continent is -49°C. So, this was about Antarctica. Now, the next continent is Europe. So, here Europe is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea in the south, to the west lies the Atlantic Ocean and to the north lies the Arctic Ocean. Now, Europe is also the home to the smallest country, that is the Vatican City State, and the tallest mountain in Europe is Mount Elbrus in Russia, and the famous Alps mountain are also located here. And in the next figure you can see that this Europe is connected to Africa through the Strait of Gibraltar. So, here strait is a narrow channel of water that separates two seas or two large water bodies. So, Africa is connected to Europe through the Strait of Gibraltar. So, this was about the Europe continent. Next one is Australia. Here Australia is the smallest continent which lies in the southern hemisphere, and it is also known as down under continent. Here the Australian land masses along with the islands of New Zealand, Papua New Guinea and Tasmania, together they are known as Oceania, and the vast areas of Australia are covered by desert, and you can also find the Great Barrier Reef that covers over 2,500 kilometers of coral, and now it is the largest living structure in the world. So, this was about the 7 continents. Next, you can see you have an activity. The activity is name the countries through which the equator, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn pass in the map of Africa. So, you have to name the countries and submit in teams. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.